You worked hard this month. You told yourself, this time it will be different. And then it happened again. The money was gone, not because you wasted it on something reckless, not because you made one dramatic, terrible decision, but because something invisible was working against you, quietly, daily, consistently, and you never noticed. Until today. My name is David Gabriel, and in the next few minutes, I am going to show you the 5 daily habits that are quietly draining your account. Not with big dramatic failures, not with obvious mistakes, but with small, completely normal patterns that feel harmless, that feel justified, that feel like just living your life. And I need you to pay very close attention to habit number 3, because number 3 does not look like a financial mistake at all. It looks like something you deserve. It looks like something you earned. It looks like something that is actually good for you. And that is precisely why it is the most dangerous one of all. Stay with me. Let us begin. Here is the truth most people never want to hear. It is not your income that is keeping you broke. Most people carry a quiet belief. A belief that if they just earned a little more, a small raise, a side income, a little bonus, everything would change. If I just had more coming in, I'd be fine. But I want you to look at the evidence around you. Do you know people who earn well and still have nothing saved? People who got a raise and somehow ended up with more pressure, not less. People who earn more than their parents ever did and yet feel more financially trapped. This is not a coincidence. Here is what the evidence shows, and here is what I have seen in real people's lives. More money does not fix broken habits. It only amplifies them. A person who spends without awareness on a small salary will spend without awareness on a large salary. A person with no financial plan on $2,000 a month will have no plan on $5,000 a month. Income changes the number in your account. Habits determine where that number goes. So today, we are not talking about making more. We are talking about something far more powerful. Identifying exactly where your money is going and why, so that for the first time, you can take real control of it. 5 habits. Let us go through them one by one. Let me tell you about a man I know. I will call him Joseph. Joseph was a hard-working man. He went to work every day. He provided for his family. He was not irresponsible. He was not reckless. And at the end of every single month, he sat at his kitchen table and asked the same question: where did the money go? He was not buying luxury cars. He was not going on expensive vacations. He was not gambling or living beyond his means in any obvious way. He was just living. Coffee in the morning, $7. Lunch out with a colleague, $14. A quick purchase on his phone, $22. An app subscription he forgot he still had, $12. A delivery fee because he was too tired to cook, $8. A small birthday gift he picked up last minute, $30. Another coffee the next day, $7. Each one felt small. Each one felt justified. Each one felt like it barely counted. But here is what Joseph did not see. When I sat with him and we went through 3 months of bank statements together, just 3 months, we found over $1,400 had quietly disappeared. Not in one dramatic moment, not in one bad decision. In $7 moments, $14 moments, $8 moments. This is the first habit keeping you broke, spending without awareness. The principle. There is an ancient teaching that has stayed with me for years. Know well the state of your flocks, and pay attention to your herds. This wisdom was written for shepherds, for people tending animals. But the principle is more relevant to your financial life than almost anything else you will hear today. Know well the state of your money. Pay attention to where it goes. Because here is the brutal truth. Most people do not actually know what they spend in a month. They have a general feeling, a rough idea, a vague sense, but they do not know. And what you cannot see, you cannot control. Joseph could not stop the leaks he did not know existed. He was not careless. He was not foolish. He was simply blind to a pattern he had never examined. Awareness is where control begins. The 2 questions Most people only ask one question when they want to buy something. Can I afford this? Which really means, do I have money in my account right now? And if the answer is yes, they buy. Without another thought, but a financially disciplined person asks a completely different question. Should I buy this? Which means, does this purchase align with my priorities? Is this the wisest use of this money right now? Will this serve my future or only my present moment? Those two questions lead to two completely different lives. Can I? Is a question about availability. Should I? Is a question about wisdom. One of those questions keeps you momentarily comfortable. The other one builds your future. Most people spend their entire financial lives asking only the first question. And they wonder why they never build anything. The water tank let me give you an image that I find deeply useful. Think of your finances as a large water tank. Every month, fresh water flows in. That is your income. Every month, water flows out. That is your expenses. Now, most people focus on the large faucets they can see. Rent, car payment, major bills. They manage those. They expect those. But what most people do not realize is this. The biggest threat to your water tank is not the large faucet you can see. It is the small, invisible cracks. A crack here. A forgotten subscription nobody canceled. A crack there. $7 every morning at the coffee shop. A crack over there. Delivery fees that add up silently. A crack here. Small purchases that feel too insignificant to count. Each crack alone is small. Each crack alone is manageable. But 15 small cracks, 20, your tank empties before the end of the month, every single time. And you look at your balance at the end of the month and ask Joseph's question, where did it go? It went out through the cracks, the ones you never found, because you never looked. Here is what I want you to do starting today, not tomorrow, not on the first of the month. Today, take one piece of paper, or open the Notes app on your phone, and for the next 14 days, write down everything you spend money on, every tea, every coffee, every ride, every snack, every quick online purchase, every subscription charge that appears in your account, every single thing. Do not judge yourself. Do not try to change anything yet. Do not feel shame about what you find. Just see it. Because awareness is the beginning of all change, and you cannot fix a crack you cannot find. After 14 days, sit with your list, look at the patterns. I promise you, you will see something that surprises you. Something that has been draining your account quietly, steadily for months, possibly years. And when you see it, now you can stop it. That is habit 1. Let us move to the second. The wise man and the foolish man. In the tradition I study and love, there is a recurring contrast between two types of people, the wise man and the foolish man. And I want to be very clear about something. The difference between them is almost never intelligence, almost never talent, almost never opportunity. The key difference is time horizon. The foolish man asks, what makes me feel good right now? The wise man asks, what will this decision look like in 1 year, in 5 years, in 20? Habit number 2 is the habit of living only for today, the I'll start when. Trappy want to ask you something honest. Have you ever said any of these to yourself? I'll start saving when I get a raise. I'll start saving when I pay off this debt. I'll start saving when the kids are older. I'll start saving when things settle down a little. I'll start saving when this year's over. I'll start saving next month. I call this the I'll start when trap. And it is one of the most expensive traps that good, hard-working, intelligent people fall into, because here is the truth the trap conceals from you. The when never comes. There will always be another expense, another season of pressure, another reason why right now is not quite the right moment. Life does not wait for a convenient pause. And the habit of saving does not appear automatically when conditions improve. Saving is a habit. Like any habit, it is built through repetition, not through a perfect moment when conditions are finally ideal. The person who cannot save $5 out of 50 will not automatically save 500 when they have 5,000. The amount changes. The behavior does not, unless the behavior is practiced. Let me tell you about two brothers. I will call them Reuben and Simeon. Both grew up in the same household. Both received the same upbringing. Both started working at around the same age. Reuben earned slightly more. Simeon earned slightly less. By the time both men reached 50 years old, Simeon had built something. Not great wealth, not extravagance, but savings, a reserve, a cushion, a kind of quiet financial peace. Reuben had almost nothing to show for 3 decades of work, and when I spoke with Reuben, honestly, directly, as brothers in truth speak, here is what he said. I always thought I'd start later, when I earned more, when the kids were grown, when things were easier, when the right time came. He paused. His voice grew quiet. And then I looked up, and 20 years had passed. 20 years. Do not let 20 years pass. The right time to build the habit is always now, not when conditions are perfect, not when the burden is lighter. Now, you have heard of compound interest, the idea that money invested early grows exponentially, because returns earn returns, which earn more returns. Small amounts become large amounts over long stretches of time. But here is what I want to add to that understanding. There is another kind of compounding, just as powerful and completely invisible to most people. I call it compound discipline. Every time you choose not to spend impulsively, you become slightly more in control. Every time you save something, even a small amount, you build the identity of someone who saves. Every time you honor your future over your present impulse, you become, slowly and surely, the kind of person who builds wealth. That discipline, practiced quietly, consistently, in small moments nobody sees, compounds over time into something extraordinary. Just like money compounds in an account, character compounds in a person, and the person you become through these daily choices is the person who can finally build the financial life you want. Here is a concept I want you to remember after this video ends. Every time you choose to live only for today, you charge yourself what I call the tomorrow tax. Spending today means having less tomorrow. Ignoring saving today means more pressure tomorrow. Delaying discipline today means tomorrow demands payment with interest, and the tomorrow tax is expensive. It grows the longer you delay, but the opposite is equally true. Every time you make a wise choice today, you give your future self what I call the tomorrow gift. A small saving today becomes a larger savings next year. A small discipline today becomes a financial foundation next decade. A small sacrifice today becomes freedom 10 years from now. Every day you have a choice. Which do you give yourself, the tax or the gift? Action step. Starting this month, identify the smallest amount you can commit to saving, even $10, and move it to a separate account the moment your income arrives, before any optional spending, before anything else. Pay yourself first. It does not matter how small the amount is today. What matters is the habit, the identity you build by doing it consistently. Now stay with me, because habit number 3 is the one I promised you at the beginning. The one that does not look like a financial mistake at all. The one that feels like wisdom. The one that feels like care. I need you to hear this one carefully. Let me describe a scene. It is 9 o'clock at night. You have had a hard day. Maybe work was difficult. Maybe a conversation went wrong. Maybe someone said something that hurt. Maybe there was no single dramatic thing. Just the accumulated weight of a long, heavy day. You sit down. You pick up your phone, and you think, I deserve something. I worked hard. I need this. I earned this. So you order food you did not plan to order. You buy something in an app. You treat yourself because you had a hard day and you deserve to feel good. And for 20 minutes, maybe 30, you feel better. Then the feeling fades. The emotion is still there, and the money is gone. This is habit number 3. And it is the most invisible of all 5 habits, because it does not look like recklessness. It does not look like irresponsibility. It looks like self-care. It looks like you honoring your own needs, like you being kind to yourself, like a reward for a difficult life well lived. And I need to give you a definition, a clear, honest definition, that will change how you see this. Emotional spending is when you buy something not because you need it, but because you are feeling something difficult, and buying creates temporary relief from that feeling. The trigger is not a need, the trigger is an emotion: stressed, bored, sad, lonely, overwhelmed, restless, anxious, and the purchase is not a solution to any of those feelings. It is a painkiller. It treats the symptom for a moment. It does not heal the root. Let me give you the neuroscience, because understanding why this happens is part of stopping it. When you experience a difficult emotion, anxiety, loneliness, frustration, sadness, your brain immediately begins seeking relief. It seeks dopamine, a shot of feeling good. Spending money, particularly the act of deciding to buy something, clicking purchase, anticipating its arrival, triggers that dopamine response. Your brain says, good, something is being done, problem addressed. Except the problem is not addressed. The anxiety is still there. The loneliness is still there. The frustration has not been resolved, but the money is gone. And here is what makes this cycle so difficult to break. It works. In the short term, it genuinely works. Buying something does create a moment of relief. It does deliver a small dose of feeling better. And because it works, the brain learns, when life is hard, spend money, over weeks, over months, over years. This pattern becomes deeply wired. You do not even feel yourself doing it anymore. The difficult emotion appears, and the spending follows automatically, before you have even consciously decided. In the tradition I come from, there is a concept that ancient teachers return to again and again: the impulse to fill inner emptiness with external things. When the soul is troubled, when there is anxiety, loneliness, a void, there is a deep human impulse to fill it with something from the outside, something visible, something that can be held, something that costs money. But the ancient teachers understood what modern neuroscience has now confirmed. External things cannot fill internal voids. The purchase that feels like it fills something actually leaves you slightly emptier and hungrier for the next one. This is why emotional spenders often feel worse after spending, not better, not immediately, but a few hours later, the next morning, when the purchase arrives and the excitement fades faster than expected because they were not filling a need. They were running from a feeling. Real self-care restores you. It rebuilds your energy. It settles your spirit. It leaves you feeling more capable of facing your life. Emotional spending depletes you, financially and spiritually. These are not the same thing, even though in the moment they feel identical. Here is a practice I want to give you. Simple, powerful, and you can begin using it today. The next time you feel the urge to buy something outside of your plan, before you click, before you tap, before you swipe, pause for 30 seconds and ask yourself 3 questions. Question 1. Am I feeling something difficult right now? Be honest with yourself. Is there stress present? Sadness, boredom, loneliness, restlessness? If the honest answer is yes, that is important information. That is not a signal to buy. That is a signal to pay attention. Question 2. Will this purchase still feel necessary in 24 hours? Go to sleep. Wake up. Come back to the desire tomorrow morning with fresh eyes. If after 24 hours you still feel a genuine need for it, it may be a real need. If the feeling has passed, it was emotion, not necessity. Question 3. What is the actual feeling I am trying to avoid? Because the purchase is never really about the purchase. Not at its core. It is about the emotion underneath it. The thing you do not want to sit with. Name it. I am feeling anxious about my work. I am feeling lonely tonight. I am feeling overwhelmed and I want to feel in control of something. Name the feeling. Sit with it. Let it exist for a few minutes without immediately running from it. This is harder than buying something. I know that. It is genuinely harder, but it is the beginning of something important. Before we continue, if habit number 3 just describes something you recognize in your own life, I want you to hit the like button right now. Just one tap. It tells me this message is reaching someone who genuinely needs it. I appreciate each one of you. Now let us keep going, because we still have 2 more habits to cover, and they are not small. I want to give you a tool that is more powerful than willpower. Because willpower alone will not break emotional spending. Willpower is a limited resource. It depletes under stress. And stress is precisely when this habit is most active. If your only strategy is resist the urge, you will fail. Not because you are weak, but because willpower is not the right tool for this job. What actually works is pattern replacement. When the emotional spending trigger fires, you do not simply resist. You replace the behavior with something else, something that provides genuine rest or genuine relief without financial cost. Here are some examples. I want you to find what works for you. When the urge to spend comes because you are stressed, take a 15-minute walk before making any purchase. Stress hormones metabolize through physical movement. By the time you return, the urge has often lost its grip. When the urge comes because you are bored, open a book, call a friend, sit in stillness for 10 minutes. Let the boredom exist without immediately filling it. Boredom is not dangerous. It simply feels uncomfortable. Discomfort is survivable. When the urge comes because you want to feel good, ask yourself, what is something that genuinely restores me without any financial cost? For some people that is prayer. For some it is exercise. For some it is music or a conversation with someone they love, or time outdoors, or writing. Find yours. Practice it intentionally. Build it as your response to emotional triggers, so that when the trigger fires, the new behavior follows automatically. Habits can be replaced. It takes time. It takes intentionality. But it is possible. Action step. This week, identify your single most common emotional spending trigger. Is it stress, boredom, loneliness, a specific time of day, a specific emotion? Name it, write it down, and then decide, in advance, before it fires again, what you will do instead. Prepare your replacement before the trigger comes, not after. That is habit 3, the hardest one to admit, and one of the most important to address. There is an old story of a merchant who refused to check his inventory. Every day he opened his shop. Every day he sold his goods. Every day he told himself that business was fine. Business was always fine, until the day he went to restock and discovered he had nothing left. He had been selling from an empty reserve, day after day, quietly draining what he had built, and he never noticed because he never looked. Habit number 4 is one of the most painful habits I encounter, because it is driven not by laziness or irresponsibility, but by fear. Ignoring your financial reality. Let me describe what this habit looks like in daily life. A notification appears on your phone from your bank. You swipe it away without opening it. You know you should check your balance. You tell yourself you will do it later. There is a bill you have been meaning to look at properly. It has been sitting on the table for 2 weeks. Someone asks about your finances in conversation. You change the subject, you say fine and move on. This is financial avoidance, and it is far more common than people realize or admit. In fact, the research on financial stress shows something important. The more stressed we feel about money, the less we want to look at our financial situation. The pain of looking feels greater than the pain of not knowing, which creates a catastrophic cycle. Financial stress leads to avoidance. Avoidance allows problems to grow without being addressed. Growing problems create more stress. More stress creates more avoidance. Round and round, month after month, sometimes year after year. I want to be honest with you about this habit, because I do not want you to simply feel shame about it and move on. Financial avoidance is not stupidity. It is a deeply human response to pain. Looking at a difficult truth is painful, and the human mind, by design, moves away from pain. If I do not look, the subconscious reasoning goes, I do not have to feel how bad it is. And for a few hours, or a few days, that strategy works. Not looking genuinely does reduce the feeling of discomfort. But here is the problem with this reasoning, and it is a serious problem. Not looking does not change the reality. It only removes your ability to respond to it. A debt that is ignored does not disappear. It grows through interest, through fees, through the compounding of inaction. A financial leak that is ignored does not seal itself. It widens. A pattern of overspending that is never examined does not correct itself. It deepens. The discomfort of looking is real. I do not minimize it. But the cost of not looking, paid slowly, silently, over months and years, is far greater than any temporary discomfort from facing the truth. There is a principle I return to often in my teaching. Know well the state of your flocks, and pay attention to your herds. This is not a gentle suggestion from the ancient text. It is a command. Know, pay attention. Because the ancient teachers understood something fundamental. You cannot steward what you cannot see. You cannot make wise decisions about what you refuse to examine. This applies to finances with complete precision. Knowing the state of your money means knowing four things: what comes in, your income, every source, the exact amount, what goes out, your expenses, essential and optional, the honest total, what you owe, your debts, your bills, your obligations, what you have, your actual current balance. 4 numbers, not complicated. Not requiring a degree in finance or a sophisticated app, but known, actually known, not guessed at, not avoided, known. Here is the practice I want to give you, and I want you to start this week, once per week, just once. Sit with your finances for 10 minutes. Set a timer. Sit down at a table. No distractions. During those 10 minutes, look at what came in this week. Look at what went out this week. Look at your current balance. Look at any bills or debts coming due in the next 2 weeks. That is the complete practice. 10 minutes, once a week. I have seen this single habit transform people's relationship with their money in ways that surprised even them. Not because it reveals something miraculous, but because it removes the fear that lives in the unknown. When you look at your numbers every single week, they stop being terrifying. They become familiar, workable, yours. And here is what changes when you look regularly. You see problems while they are still small. A balance dropping lower than it should be, before it becomes a crisis. A bill you forgot was coming, before it bounces. A spending pattern that is drifting, before it does serious damage. When you see it early, you can respond. You can adjust. You can make a decision before the situation makes the decision for you. Financial awareness is not punishment. It is power. The moment you stop looking away is the moment you begin to move forward. Open your calendar right now and schedule 10 minutes. Give it a name. Call it your weekly financial check. Put it on the same day each week. And when it arrives, do not skip it. 10 minutes, once a week, starting this week. I want to ask you one honest question. Before last month began, did you know in advance exactly where every dollar was going? Did you decide, before the month started, how much would go to housing, how much to food, how much to transportation, how much to savings, how much was available for personal spending and nothing else? Or did you simply begin the month, spend as you went, and discover what was left at the end? If it is the second, you are living without a plan, and that is habit number 5. Here is the first thing I want to address. When most people hear the word budget or the word plan, they feel something tighten inside, a feeling of restriction, of being caged, of life becoming smaller and less enjoyable. A budget means I can't have anything I want. A plan means every dollar is controlled and there's no freedom. I want to reframe this completely, because this belief, this feeling, is one of the primary reasons people never build a plan. And without a plan, they continue habit 5 forever. A plan is not a cage. A plan is a compass. Without a compass, you wander. You go wherever the current takes you. You end up wherever circumstance places you. And you arrive at the end of every month not knowing how you got there, and not having chosen the destination. With a compass, you move intentionally. You choose a direction. You make consistent progress toward a specific destination. A financial plan does not restrict your life. It directs it. And the difference between drifting and directing over the span of a year, a decade, a lifetime is extraordinary. In the ancient wisdom tradition, there is a teaching that has stayed with me for many years. A wise teacher told the story of two men who each wanted to build a house. The first man was eager. He was motivated. He had a strong desire to build something for his family, so he began immediately. He gathered materials. He laid stones. He worked hard, day after day, but he had not counted the cost. He had not measured the ground. He had not planned how many stones would be needed, or where the doorways would sit, or how much mortar would be required. Halfway through the build, he ran out of materials. He had not ordered enough. He had not set aside enough resources for each phase. And the house stood there, half finished, a monument to enthusiasm without preparation. The second man sat down before he began. He counted the cost. He measured. He calculated what he would need for each phase of the build. He planned. He identified in advance where each resource would come from. And when he began, the house was completed. Same goal, same desire, same effort, different outcome, because one had a plan and one did not. Your finances are a house you are building every single month. Every month is a new phase of construction. Are you the first builder, motivated, busy, running out of materials before the month ends, or are you the second, deliberate, counted, arriving at the end of the month with the structure intact? Here is the simplest financial plan I can give you, and I want you to hear this clearly. It is enough to begin. You need 3 numbers, just 3. Number 1, what comes in? Your total income this month, every source, the exact amount, not an estimate, the actual number. Number 2, what must go out? Your essential non-negotiable expenses, housing, food, utilities, transportation, medical, the things that must be paid regardless of anything else. Know the exact total. Number 3, what you will keep, your savings target. Not whatever is left over. Not what I didn't happen to spend. A decision made in advance that comes out of your income first, before any optional spending begins. Pay yourself first. Set the savings target before you spend on anything optional. From these 3 numbers, everything else becomes clear. Subtract number 2 from